Yeah, we are live. So we have fellow atheist Dean from South Africa, and yeah, we have James and myself. So I guess this is going to be a discussion. We are going to figure things out as we go. So yeah. So Dean, tell me about how you became an atheist.
Oh my goodness, that's a different story and a long story as well. But
Make it short.
I can. I'll give you the short version. So, I grew up like all South Africans do in a very very religious household, and then towards my teens, I don't know, maybe something changed in the air or the water or whatever, but my mother lost that very zealous religious spark. So we as a family went to church less and less, and I don't know, when as a young adult, it just became less important to me than actually making my way through the world. And then it was probably around, I call it, if you've ever heard the expression "death by a thousand cuts." That was my experience with religion, and it was about my early 30s where it just, completely stopped being an issue for me. I always remember as a young adult, I was one of those curious people. I'm always, looked for answers and motivation. I needed to know, why are we here and what is the purpose of life, and in the end, I just, there was one question that turned the tides for me. I discovered other religions in my, my early 30s, and I said to myself, like, fuck, look, there's like so many different religions. They cannot all be right. It's mutually exclusive, but they can all be wrong at the same time. And it was literally 10 minutes later, and I just decided it's all bullshit. And then, in my early 40s, I started to get involved in atheist activism because I realized that religion will take your silence as acquiescence. They are bullies. They're bullies at the end of the day. Like bullies on a playground, where they will look for the weakest kid, and they will completely try to dominate them and incorporate or eradicate them. So, and especially on the African continent where I live, it is a big scourge, on our society, where religion has become the arm of capitalism. Capitalism and religion go hand in hand. You cannot go for a day where you will not see a headline of an African, crazy African pastor did this, or a crazy African religious cult did that, and it's crazy how, we've got a very big deficit when it comes to education and technology and just catching up to the first world. And I'm sure those of you who live in less developed countries can relate, because people are very easily exploited, and especially people who are gullible. So I think it is why I got involved, first of all, in activism on the atheism side, is because I've considered myself first and foremost a humanist, then secondly an atheist, and then thirdly, I want to live in a society where where people are not so easily exploited by these religious charlatans. I call them, the pulpit bandits. And they really thrive in an environment where people are easily duped. People are looking for answers to XYZ problem. They will easily present themselves as a solution. But I digress. I can really talk about this for hours and hours, but that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Great. I have one quick question. So can you elaborate on what it means for you to be a humanist? And does that mean discrimination against animals at all? Does it mean like human exceptionalism, or?
Neither. Neither. For me, humanism encompasses the, if you distill it down to its pure essence, it is the well-being and it's a very speciesist view, first of all, but it also incorporates aspects like the environment, like other people. It is for the thriving and the flourishing of humanity and humanism, in my opinion, is in that.
So it's a bit like atheism, right? It's let's get people more rational, atheistic, improve.
Yeah. If I can put it into an African context, which might be easier to I sound like a preacher, easier to verbalize what my idea is. There's an African principle called Ubuntu, which means it basically encapsulates into English as I am because we are. So and that is, for me, is like the purest humanist principle. I don't know. It's I can pull up a dictionary, but that's my understanding.
Okay, so what do you know about extinctionism?
Well, this is something I have to confess, in my ignorance, that I've only become familiar with in the past few days after I ran into you guys. But as I understand it, you are of the opinion that because of, correct me if I'm wrong, you're of the opinion that existence is suffering, and therefore everything would be better off not having existed to begin with. Is that encapsulation?
I mean, there's probably, certain life forms or people that have, enjoyed their life. But it's not, the idea is not that everyone is having a bad time. It's that it's not fair for anyone to have a bad time, ever, basically. Right. So like,
that is a bit naive, wouldn't you say? Because existence is not only suffering.
Yeah, but it's not only suffering, I agree. But the thing is, just list some of the sufferings that are going on in this existence, right? So you are a humanist. So let's start with human sufferings. So people have been kidnapping children and they are raping them. They are shooting child pornography, right? And people are suffering in war zones. So people are suffering from horrible diseases like cancer. And if you move towards the animal kingdom, there is predation, starvation, animal slavery, animal abuse, and all these things. And animals number in the quintillions, right? So these are all extreme sufferings. So yeah, life is not just suffering; it also has some good things. But can you name one good thing that can justify even one of these sufferings? Like, for example, can you say, I mean, I enjoy a lot of anime, video games. Can I say that, okay, because of the existence of anime and video games, continued existence of child rape is justified? I cannot say that. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you are going to be hard pressed to quantify either of those. At the end of the day, it does fall back to a subjective experience of pain and suffering. And I've got some friends who are into some serious kinky S&M shit who enjoy
it is subjective, but when you suffer, right? You don't want to, like the children who are getting raped, they don't want to suffer. And it's really not a subjective opinion. Just a second. It's really not a subjective opinion to say that the suffering outweighs the good, because if you claim otherwise, you should be able to name one good thing in this world that can justify a single event of child rape. Let's forget all the children. Like, I mean, you and UNICEF says 5,000 reported case of child sexual assault and shit. But let's just say one child rape. Can you justify that with anything in this world?
Um, I personally not a fan. I have to put this on the record before we proceed. Not a fan of child rape. Don't think it should happen. But you know,
But
I can I will eventually answer my question. Please bear with me. Like English is not my first language. Sometimes I do take a few seconds to formulate something in my mind before I utter it. So please bear with me. Take a deep breath.
Yep.
I will answer your question. As I'm saying, I cannot fathom anything that would justify the violation of a child. There are many, many, many other examples that you can bring forward. I would, however, on the same breath, like to ask you to, to justify why the occurrence of suffering would be a sufficient reason to have the entire planet, the entire, because you're not only advocating for the extinction of the human species, you are advocating for for cosmic annihilation, as I understand it. You just think that existence.
see, yeah, that is my question to you. That is what I am asking. Can you give me something in existence that
I
can
already
justify? Just a
I
second.
already-
Just a second. I let you speak, right? Just a second. So that
yes.
is my question to you. So I am asking you for a reason. So you give me a reason. So you are saying that like 5,000. I just gave you like statistics. Like, okay, 5,000 children are getting raped per day, and then there are like 100 billion animals that are subject to animal slavery in farms and slaughterhouses, and then millions of more abused in the hands of humans, and then quintillions of more abused by nature, and all these starvation, these natural disasters, these child rape, these animal abuses. I am saying you give me a reason these should continue. You
I
are the
already
one supporting life. You give me a reason. I'm saying this is extreme enough reason to cause extinction. You give me a reason that can justify child rape, and then we can talk about it.
I already told you I have no justification. I have no
Then
justification.
extinction is right.
Logically, yes.
Yes. Emotionally, no. I know, but we
it's
are, we are more rationalists.
it's a very extreme, it's a very extreme take. This is if you I get I correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the distinct feeling that you're the type of person that upon discovering a blister on your heel would say, yeah, I don't need the foot.
Yeah. So the problem is not I stub my toe. So that's a wrong comparison, right? So I'm not cutting off my foot.
Yes,
Just a,
but don't, please
just a second.
don't take me so seriously.
Just a second. Just a second. That is not a right comparison. So the thing is that a more right comparison would be my leg is infected, and there is no cure for that infection, right? Because there is no cure for suffering within existence. There will always be suffering. Till the end of time, children will be raped. Till the end of time, there will be accidents. There will be diseases. There will be natural disasters.
Yeah,
So a right comparison would be your leg is infected and the infection has no cure. Yes, you would amputate the leg.
yeah. So you've got gangrene up to your hip. Can I throw something at you? Can I give you a news flash? News flash.
Yeah.
It's all going to go extinct in any case.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that like there is a difference between. I mean, you are going into a little bit of theism right now, to be really honest,
Talking
because
about
this is like just a second. Don't be offended. Just a
no, I'm not
second.
being offended, but you're mischaracterizing me, so I have to
No, no, no.
stop.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. This is a characteristic of a theist, sitting and hoping for things to get better. We don't do that, right?
I
So
can
maybe let's say like maybe like a trillion years later there is heat death, right? Maybe the universe goes into vacuum decay, but that is trillions of years of more suffering, right?
Right.
And then the universe might even be cyclical, right? So my movement, we don't advocate for inaction, we advocate for direct action. We want to cause the, like, we are very clear, we want to cause the most vast and the most thorough extinction possible. We want to scientifically determine what is that. We want to advance science, and we want, like, we are kind of a humanist ourselves. So from your definition, so we want a healthy humanity, we want a healthy environment, we want the vehicle to go healthy till we accomplish that, and we cause the most vast and thorough extinction possible for everybody.
Right. So, what do you say to those who say that you are playing God?
I mean, I don't really care, like, because I could say the same thing. Like, for example, if you see a child rape in front of you, and a father is literally, like, beating his child for no reason, and you go and stop it, I could also say you are playing God. These are like cringe things, don't make any sense really. Like, you play God, you play the devil, whatever you do, like, the at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is whether you stop that child suffering or not. Name me God, name me devil, I don't care.
You strike me as those, there is this extreme form of Jainism where people will walk, they will take, they will literally freeze up when walking across the pavement in fear of
I mean,
stepping.
I'm not advocating for that, right?
Yeah, no,
We
no,
are
no, no.
literally
I was trying to get a thought out, but please continue.
no, now I am offended. You are comparing me to religious stuff.
No, no, I'm
I
just saying,
mean,
it all of a sudden occurred to me that because I watched something where somebody was describing this extreme sect of people who value life so much that they
see,
petrify.
again and again, you are saying words like, you're just throwing words like extreme, but you just put it. Let me just put it into perspective, right? So what a pro-life society is saying is that, you're literally saying, like, no being here is immortal, right? So they are gonna die a natural horrible death, but before that, they reproduce, right? And then they create the next batch of organisms who are going to suffer, and they are going to die horribly. And then the next organisms. So you are advocating for continued deaths, suffering, and like, being born without consent. And I am literally saying, like, end it with one strike.
Yeah.
Now look at it. Who is more extreme?
I'm sorry, I'm just savoring the delicious irony of you bulking against
Yeah,
being labeled an extremist when you are advocating for complete and total annihilation, which I would forgive me, but I would label that as rather extreme. But that's just me, like
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
about you, but like
yeah, exactly. Even
little bit extreme, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. In whatever social justice movements, activists were labeled as extreme, right? So even in abolitionist movement, activists were labeled as extreme terrorists,
I
who
get
are yeah, because right now you are sitting in a position where that has ended. So it seems like, those activists had it easy, but they didn't. They were also labeled as extremists. But if you look at it from a logical perspective, the person who says life should continue, they are the ones who are extremists, because they are advocating for continued deaths. Even if you keep death as the only metric for bad things, they are advocating for continued deaths, suffering, and reproduction without consent. So they are the extremists, and I don't think I am an extremist. The rest of the 99% might call me extremist, just like every other activist in history, but I don't care about that.
I understand that. You know, I should get a notepad out here, because every sentence that you utter puts so many different. My mind is going like a fractal into all these different areas at the moment. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, we were talking about. Yeah, I brought up the point that you might label this as extreme, and you said, "Oh yes, this is what I wanted to highlight." There is a bit of a false equivalency here, and especially in this appeal to emotion that you are launching here, when you're comparing global annihilation of every single thing to something like a social justice movement or something like that. You know, so there is a bit. I do sense a bit of a false equivalency, because one of these things is not like the other.
Absolutely, it is the ultimate social justice movement, because it gives non-discriminatory consideration to every single sufferer in the world. The thing is, black rights stops with black people, feminism stops with women, right? Animal rights stop with farmed animals. We are giving consideration to wild animals. We are giving consideration to victims whose suffering is naturally caused. People will just dismiss them. They'll just say it's natural, it's an accident, right? Like it's some sort of thing that should be, just a second, that should be acceptable, right? So I am giving non-discriminatory consideration to every single victim, and I am trying to find the only solution that is going to end all the suffering, which you yourself like, you don't have anything in this world, any argument that can actually justify even one of these victims existing. So I am giving I am asking for liberation for all of these victims, and the unborn victims who are going to come into this existence and suffer, right? So absolutely, I am the ultimate social justice movement. You can disagree with me, but that's just you.
Well, I mean, there are quite a couple of nouns besides ultimate social justice warrior that spring to mind. You know, and some of them are a bit too extreme for polite conversation, I have to confess. But I do really appreciate the cold hard logic with which you approach it, with which you approach this. You know, and where does
the victims are depending on it.
I get that, but where does consent play into all of this? Are you?
Where does
That is actually like, don't bring consent into argument. That will work against you, because no sentient being consents when they are born. No sentient beings consent when they naturally die. No sentient being consents when they suffer. So if you take consent violations as a metric, you by continuing life. Wait a second. You, by saying continue life, would be advocating for more consent violations, for continuation of consent violations, right? So I am the one who is being purely logical and choosing the lesser amount of consent violations and ending consent violations forever.
Yeah, I think that we should just move this whole thing to be, you know, we should remove human choice and consideration out of this equation completely, have a completely unbiased algorithm just decide and fucking annihilate everything if it reaches a certain threshold that you are free to program into it. So would you be fine with that?
So the thing is about like AI, or what you're suggesting is, you know, and we were making this point on the podcast an hour ago, you know, an AI or a person that wants to do the right thing for the world, they're not just going to say, right, we need an atheistic society and that's it. It's perfect now. They're going to say, right, what's bad, what matters, what's important. Okay, so children are being raped. That's really important. We have to stop that. And then it's going to think like, you know, this is so bad, right? You know, like animals are being eaten alive. Children are being raped and then murdered. Why should we allow this to keep happening? Let me think. And then it's going to say like, I mean, yeah, maybe some people are going to have, you know, the top 1%, the elite that are lucky. The lucky ones might have a good life. but look at all the victims, right? How is this fair? How is this right? No one asked for this. No one wanted this. No one wanted to be born. Every single life form is forced into existence non-consensually, into extreme suffering. There's no kind of justification, again, like we've been saying. So, the thing is, even if you programmed an AI to take care of the world, right, it would probably say this is far too evil. And one of, the ideal thing really is 100% safety from suffering, from being forced to suffer, forced to exist. All of these things are forced, wrongfully, and look at the damage it causes, right? So it would probably say, right, life deserves better. Life deserves 100% safety from being forced to exist into dangerous conditions, forced to suffer the worst things. It would probably say all of these life forms are just being tortured, right? We need to stop this. And just because the top 1% is, eating these animals, enslaving the population with capitalism, the top 1% don't deserve to get to continue at the expense of all of these victims.
Right. So, it really is a very existential question at the end of the day, because I just want to know, like who gets to decide to press the button? Should this be a consensus, or should there be
when you're talking, you mentioned one word like human choice, right? So I don't think human choice is a real thing. Free will is actually a religious concept. So scientifically, determinism, like neurobiological determinism, is actually proven, right? So you might think that just bear with me this one example, right? So you might think that a sadist who's torturing a puppy, why is he being so cruel? It's so unnecessary, right? But for the sadist, he lacks the connection between his empathetic region of the brain and the mirror neurons, right? So his brain is defective. He looks at the tortured puppy and he thinks that, hey, this isn't so bad. And he would actually have various mental disorders that would actually push him to torture the puppy. So what would you do? Would you go and ask the consensus of these people to stop torturing the puppy, or would you go and rescue the puppy? Right. So there are like limits. Like there are, like, as you said, like when you came in, right? Like most people are irrational. Right. Most people are following religion because they don't have the rational ability to see beyond that. Most people are racist. This is actually proven by research. So scientists have actually like done a research on racism, right? So they make a bunch of people sit. So you can read this author, this nice guy. He's Robert Sapolsky, I think, if I'm pronouncing right. So he's the best author I've seen in a while. So this guy mentions a research. So you make a bunch of people sit in a chair. You measure their brain activity while watching photos of people from other races, right? So there are people who have dominant amygdalas, which are responsible for emotions, and there are people who have dominant prefrontal cortex, which are responsible for logic. So these people who have more dominant amygdala, they take decisions through emotions, right? So they see this people from other races, they get their amygdala is activated, they get so aggressive, right? So but the same people, like when they have more dominant prefrontal cortex, their amygdala activity, their aggression towards other races, seeing other races, it calms down because PFC activity rises and they rationalize. That is the part of the brain that is responsible for rationality. I'm oversimplifying it for explanation, but okay. So, these people are able to calm down. They are thinking, okay, this is another human. He just looks different. He has a different skin color, but he's the same as me. He feels the same suffering as me, right? So they are able to rationalize. But can you go and ask the consent of this person to not be a racist who has a dominant amygdala? He doesn't have the physical ability to not be a racist, right? So if you go and ask whether you need to give black people some rights, he's going to say no. That is why in history, always activist population will be really, really less. It will be really lesser than 1% of the population that will be actively fighting for a social justice movement. They would actually be like using smart strategies to, change the laws, to force them. Like if people had gone and gotten the consent of all the white supremacists to, liberate the slaves, like slavery wouldn't have ended, right? Because those people lack the physical ability. Just like you cannot say a legless person to run, you cannot tell an amygdala dominant person to not be a racist. You cannot tell a sadist who has a defective connection between mirror neurons and empathetic parts of the brain to not be a sadist. So where is choice here? Where is consent? There is no consent. So if you are Einstein, wait a second, wait a second. If you are Einstein, right, you figure out E is equal to mc square, right? Just because like some idiotic morons who cannot do the math, who doesn't have the physical ability to do the math, and think that okay, E is equal to mc square, doesn't mean that E is not equal to mc square. People being unintelligent doesn't change the facts. So consent is not really a thing. So if you are intelligent, if you see the right way, that is how every social justice movement in the past have worked. So they never got the consent of white supremacists. In India, they never got the consent of upper caste people who are oppressing the lower caste people. They never got the consent of toxic masculinists to give women's rights. That has never happened. They changed the law, and these people, they still want to be racist. They still want slavery. They still want, if you take out these laws tomorrow, definitely there will be a white supremacist organization starting slavery again tomorrow, right? So literally in history, only forced change has worked. Nobody has ever gotten consent of anybody, and you don't need to get the consent of anybody to give peace to the victims, to give justice to the victims.
Yeah, I was talking about consensus, and I don't believe in free will, as a matter of fact, but I think it should be consensus based.
Again, yeah, who are these people to give consensus? That is what I'm asking. So these people literally don't have ability, right? So it is like literally that if you don't believe in free will, you shouldn't believe in consensus. Nobody is going to give any consensus. So you can do atheist activism all your life, right? The atheist activism can be done for another 10,000, 20,000 years. There will still be theists. Okay, that is because they have physical defect. They can't understand. They are irrational. They are born irrational. Actually, like they have physical defects. That's what I'm saying. If there is no free will, and white supremacists, they literally don't have a free will to let the slaves out. They have to be forced, right? So if you go and get the consensus of people, so even if you take a 1954 survey, right, 94% of Americans voted against interracial marriages, meaning they were racist. The rest of the 6% were either no comments or people who weren't racist, okay, people who were inclusive, and even lesser population were activists. So even in 1954, the majority of America was racist. The consensus was racist. So what? Roll back black rights. No, right? So consensus and all doesn't matter. 51% people are voting for absolute shit politicians. 90% of the world is theist. They are believing in a god. They would, discriminate LGBT people. They would, abuse animals because it is said in Bible. It is said in Quran. They will beat their wife because it is said in Quran, right? Because they will discriminate and bully gay people because it is said in the Bible. So who are you asking consensus? You give LGBT rights. You don't need to ask consensus. 90% of the people are going to be against LGBT. So why should I ask their consent? They are literally unempathetic. They are literally irrational, right?
So, I mean, you sound awfully totalitarian and authoritarian. I just have to.
I don't care about all these words. The only thing I care about is victim's perspective. See, if you are, see, the thing is, the only thing that we care about is victim's perspective. If you are the one who's fucked in his ass by a rapist, you would want help. You wouldn't want to suffer that, right? So my mission is to give, my mission is like, you can call me anything. You can call me a totalitarian, extremist, other bunch of words. Maybe I don't even know that, but I don't care about all these things. The thing that the only metric that matters is suffering. Suffering is the only bad thing in this world, and it's very extreme. There is nothing in this world that can justify it. So my mission is to end it.
I wish you well. If I personally could, I would materialize the red button in front of you, if only to see the glee on your face upon your hand pressing it. Yeah, I think that would be the only reward.
I mean, no, that is so cringe. See. That is so cringe.
Please, you also need to, if you plan on having a conversation, it's a two-way thing. Like, I get that you are very passionate about these ideas, but please, please allow other people to also express their ideas. I mean,
go ahead. Nobody is stopping you.
One can hardly utter a sentence before you launch into these, 5-minute rehearsed.
See. Wait a second. I just thought you were finished. Okay. So if you are not done, you take your time. You say you are done, and we can go.
It's not that. It's not that. It's just like I feel. I find these ideas fascinating. When I, if I push back again, I can sense how passionate you are about these things. You please do not take it personally. I'm not attacking you. I'm really trying to take a critical look at what you are proposing. So do not take it so personally. Let's get these ideas to develop and examine them. So as I was saying, I can really envision. I can envision you. This kind of passion and fervor, I see, history is rife with them, especially recent history, and I would really, really, really dread for the red button to be in your possession. I sincerely would, because I don't know, maybe it's the humanist within me. Maybe it's just because sure, I don't think that we have free will, but fucking everybody's desire and drive in life motivates them towards self-preservation firstly, so those are all the kind of things that I consider, and I personally, even though everything that you say is logically sound, I cannot find a single flaw within the logic of what you have constructed here. I personally would not be able to press the red button. You are salivating to press the red button. I can tell. However, no. I don't think that we have exhausted because in my opinion, this is the ultimate solution. It is an extreme solution
to an extreme problem.
Correct. I'm not saying that there is no problem. I have been agreeing with you, or I everything that you say up to this stage makes logical sense. So I'm saying surely there are other solutions that we as a species could attempt. What
Name them.
what are we doing? So, okay, there aren't any. Let's just press the button. Thanks for having me, guys. What do you want? What do you want from me? I'm
No,
not
I don't want anything from you. At least you are more honest. Just a second. At least you are more honest than most pro-lifers. You accepted that it is our position is logical, and you are emotionally not able to agree with it. So that is being more honest than most people who are coming as a guest here. One thing,
Yeah.
and the second thing is, I just said if you have any others. So you just said there might be other solution, right? So name it. Maybe you should have an idea, right? You cannot just say I mean, Jesus will come and save all these children. You should name a little bit, you should make sense. So how will you end?
Well, I'm not. I have not studied every single possible harm reduction method available to. Did you expect me to come prepared to give you an academic citation of every
No,
single?
you just no. You don't. No. You don't need to give me a method that can end suffering. Just give me an idea what can, because my thing is, so let me explain this to you. This is how it has been in history. So we invent a new technology like internet, right? So it's being used to do good things. We are actually discussing about suffering on the internet right now, which is a good thing. There are a lot of positive outcomes, like there are information available to farmers, right? There are a lot of good outcomes. That is why internet was invented in the first place. But now, because of the invention of this internet, there is a new industry that rapes, films children, and then puts it on the dark net, sells it for Bitcoin. There is an industry that tortures animals in front of a camera, films it, and sells it for Bitcoin. There is something called a Silk Road where they sell real human organs and drugs. So, a technology being invented, we think that it is going to solve suffering, but it is giving rise to new suffering. So you invent guns in the name of arming the police, in the name of defending yourself, but then criminals get access to it. You end starvation. The next problem is obesity. You end physical wars. The next problem is a stealth virus, and you don't even know you are being waged a war on. Right? This is how existence is going. Suffering just transfers its forms. It never really ends. Right? So slavery hasn't ended. Animal slavery, if you take a look at it, 100 billion animals are slaves. I'm not advocating for veganism here. Okay, but this is something that should be recognized. Okay, these animals also deserve moral consideration. Right. So if you take animal slavery, it is also slavery. A chicken, five, six chickens are being crammed in a small cage. They have to live there their entire lives before they are hung upside down and killed. Cows are being raped in the name of artificial insemination in farms. Where have we ended slavery? This has increased in the recent years, right? So all these things are actually giving rise to new sufferings. We invent more and more technology, right? So we invent more and more, we solved slavery, but then it goes to animal slavery. Okay, you solve animal slavery. The next problem is going to more forests and more wildlife suffering. So for the victims, they don't care, right? Who is causing my suffering? Who I am? I may be an Indian. I may be an animal. I may be my suffering is accidental. My suffering is human caused. My suffering is nature caused. From the victim's perspective, there is zero difference. Literally zero difference. I don't want to suffer. That is all I want. I don't care whether who causes my suffering, how I look, whether I am an animal or a human, whether I'm a woman or a man. I don't care about that. I don't want to suffer. That is all that matters when it comes to suffering. You and me, our emotional preferences, our ideas that some humans matter, animals don't matter, men matter, women don't matter. All these are irrational lines we draw. But from the victim's perspective, there is no difference. So literally, you cannot end suffering. It just changes forms. It goes from women to animals, right? From farmed animals to wild animals. It goes from solving the problem of communication to child pornography. That is how it works. Everybody,
You cure
and again,
diseases and you
pointing,
give more
yeah,
medicine.
again, yeah, exactly. So, like, again, pointing at free will, right? There are going to be, like, next thing, like, we have invented AI. It is so much more useful for us. Next thing, you just wait and watch. This AI is going to be used by the criminals in the dark net for some, like, cruel shit. That is literally what is going to happen.
Automated torture.
Yeah.
I agree, gentlemen. Life is just simply black and white. There is not a single shade of gray on the entire spectrum. I agree with you 100%.
Cool.
I mean, so like throughout history, there's every single movement, right, has only ever helped a certain group. There's never ever been a movement that said this will end all suffering. We're working towards the goal of ending all suffering. That's never been a goal of any movement. It's always been we want to end sexism. We want to help farm animals. So it's always isolated, tribal, right? That's the problem. It's always going to be tribal. That is human nature, right? And so, it was inevitable because it did happen. It was inevitable that eventually all of the movements would, people would start to realize that it's not doing enough, right? It's not good enough. We need a movement for everyone, for all suffering. So that's what extinctionism is about. And it's really easy, in my opinion, to understand. It's like, do you think any life should be forced to exist? No. And there's unlimited risk suffering for every life that is forced to exist. I mean, you literally just have to try and imagine being eaten alive, right? And it's not always a fast death either. Sometimes it takes days to be eaten alive. And the terror, the mental anguish, not to mention the extreme physical pain of things like that happening is literally beyond comprehension. And this is happening to babies every single day. It's the worst thing possible. So no life deserves to be forced to exist and into such extreme, terrible conditions and horrific nightmares. And so extinctionism isn't about killing or annihilating. It's about preventing suffering, preventing victimization, and the worst things. It's about providing safety from this, because this is going to just keep happening naturally. Nature doesn't have morality. Nature can't think. It doesn't know what it's doing. Animals don't have children because they've decided, I'm settled down now. I have a stable life. They just do it all the time. They can't control it. So life is just being forced into existence, into terrible conditions, and this will keep happening. It's wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you. This, the system is, but surely you would recognize, having said that there are, there are natural checks and balances built into this system, that controls for this. Surely, as soon as a population consumes all the resources, granted, they're going to suffer while doing this, which, I mean, and again, this is the black and white thinking that I mentioned earlier. Like it is either, it's not noticing that there is an entire spectrum of experience between black and white, ranging from white to gray to black again. This kind of thinking, in my opinion, tends to polarize this discussion, and I lost count of how many times you appealed to emotion in the process. Instead of having a cold, logical motive.
Can you give an example?
Oh, the suffering of the this and the suffering of the that. Like you're trying to frame your argument by appealing to the emotion of suffering. First of all,
Yeah.
I grant that.
Yeah. We'll just remain chill about child rape from now.
Exactly.
It's
This is
so
what I'm
cool.
saying. It's like,
It's from black to gray to white to all that shit, and child rape balances nature.
strong.
So we are going to just James,
Nobody
just
is
chill about child rape.
person that loves to speak the whole time, and you do it very passionately. Like this is not
No. We don't do it out of passion. This is not some art or anything to us. We do it out of moral obligation. So don't keep straw manning us.
I'm not straw manning you. I'm telling you this is not how
Yeah.
conversation works.
Okay, fine.
But just
The
for analogy,
conversation doesn't
there's-
wait.
There's
Huh?
no gray scale for child rape being good or bad. It just is bad.
Yeah, it is bad. Yeah.
I agree.
There is no black, white, gray, anything. Suffering is bad for the sufferer. Very simple.
But
It is black and white.
life does not only consist of suffering.
Yeah, we agreed that from the beginning, and you should be able to name one thing that can justify child rape. To say that there is something that is worth thinking about more than child rape. That's it. So I am agreeing. I am 100%. Yeah.
So yeah, I so basically your argument is because one person fucked the child, let's kill the entire existence.
And my
Let me ask you a
argument
question.
is no. My argument is you want to keep the children get like you want to keep the child fucking machine running. You want to keep the death machine running. You want to keep the predation. You want to keep the animal abuse, the animal slavery running, and I want to end it.
I also want to end it.
Exactly. Then you should. The only way is pressing the red button because you don't have a solution other than extinction.
I forgive me. I just don't think in the extremes like that. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. You like you then you don't want to solve these things. That's it. You just say some cringe shit to just escape. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I don't. Like maybe I'm just like a fucking.
Yeah, exactly. So just say it out then. Like
you probably haven't seen my fucking dark web collection of fucking animal crushing porn that I have on my hard drive here. That I
bro. Silence is the same as being silent at injustice is the same as causing it. Yes, you don't need to have like animal crushing porn and jerking off to support animal sadism. You just need to sit and silently watch without fighting against it. Then also you are a supporter. Yep.
Yeah.
So we are not supporters. We fight for extinction, which is the only thing that is going to end animal sadism.
Yeah,
We don't support
I
it.
agree with you.
There is only black and white. You are either fighting against child rape, you are fighting against animal sadism, you are fighting against predation, or you are staying silent, which is the same as allowing it.
Yeah.
It is black and white.
I'm really having flashbacks of being preached at in a choir. Like it's
exactly. Yeah.
Being preached at in a church. I'm having vivid flashbacks, and it's like a visceral reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not disagreeing with the logic, just the way that we're communicating.
No.
Right?
No. We are, bro, James, bro. Like, he doesn't have any solution for all these children and animals, right? So we have a solution, and us talking about its logic and him not being able to answer makes him feel like he's preached upon. We cannot help you, bro. You don't have any logical argument against us. Obviously, you're going to feel preached upon. So you grow some fucking brain and either become an extinctionist or bring some argument.
I'm just saying that you really need to employ a PR department because you're not gonna catch any flies with this big pile of shit that your personality serves.
Exactly. You are doing a big pile of shit by staying silent about all the suffering, right? You are catching a lot of flies. That is literally what you are doing. That's it.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's like you you really need to work on the delivery because
I need to work on it.
yes,
You didn't have a single fucking argument against extinctionism. You need to work on it. Come back for round 2. Maybe let's see like whether you have some shit or not.
I don't care, honestly. I mean, like, I fucking lived my life already. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Now we are getting to it. Like, yeah, you are exposed. Finished. I don't fucking care. Right. So yeah, it is the same as saying like it doesn't matter whether you have animal crushing porn or not. You don't care about it. You want it to happen. That's it. Done.
I honestly, I'm telling you honestly, it's like just I'm looking at you and the longevity of your ideas, and I'm just saying it's just like from a completely outsider's perspective, because that is I've been doing over the past 24 hours, looking at, I've consumed some of your debates and some of your content, and I've looked at the whole position. I tried to look at it from a very objective, non-partisan perspective. I tried to give it.
And you came up with zero fucking arguments against it.
You are incapable of having a fucking conversation.
Bro, I just destroyed you. I destroyed your every single fucking argument. Now you have nothing, so you are just saying I'm preaching something to you. I just destroyed you. You wanted to keep being pro-life, right? So you are so comfortable, right? So you are actually a theist who is worshipping life instead of Jesus. So I just broke your fucking entire ideology. So now you have nothing to say. So you are like throwing around shit. You cannot argue. You are preaching blah blah blah. Blah. Right. So I just fucking destroyed you.
I really, you can tell the security.
You can fuck off now. If you have some argument, you can say. Like if you are gonna keep defending child rape and animal abuse and predation, you can just fuck off. So it seems like you don't have any argument right now.
You don't want to have a conversation about this. That's very.
Bro, I entirely had one conversation. I answered your every fucking argument. I destroyed them. And you don't have a point. So you are saying you don't want to have a conversation with me.
You are not capable.
Fucking like quit already. Like you are just embarrassing yourself, dude.
Dean, what do you mean he's not capable? You're the one saying that you have no counter arguments, that there's nothing you can say against it. So you are the one, you're the only one here that's not capable of having a conversation.
Exactly. In the middle of the debate, you even admitted that you are just being like an emotional fuck and we have a logical construct right here. And then you are like, you are completely illogical. You are appealing to emotions. That's just your pro-life emotions taking over.
I mean, like this is really this is a good bait. You guys put out a good bait, and I was foolish enough to fall for it. So congratulations, guys. Job well done. I do surrender to your superior intellect. At the end of the day, I'm saying you need to work on your marketing strategy. At the moment, it sucks.
No, we are not marketing for ending child rape. We are not selling any cookies here. Sorry.
Yeah. Appeal to more emotion. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, guys.
Appeal to emotions. Like child rape is not a fucking cookie, it's an appeal to emotions. What the fuck? What the fuck are you even saying? Like we are not marketing for eradicating child rape. That is an emotion. Like what the fuck? Okay.
Okay, yeah, you destroyed him, dude. Nice.
Yep. He says like you can't have a conversation. Can't have a conversation. He kept all those arguments, and then we thoroughly debunked them. And then he's like, "You're preaching to me. You don't have any arguments. Like what the fuck? You don't have any arguments right now."
Yeah, literally, give us an argument, and we'll engage with it. But
exactly.
We can't engage with you saying you guys are totalitarian, you're preaching. That's not logic, right? That's literally hiding and escaping from trying to use logic. Literally, all he had to do was and Steve said, okay, give us a counter argument. We'll give you time. We'll be quiet. And he's like, I have nothing I can say. And then he's like, you guys can't have a conversation. What conversation do you want to have? You've just said the conversation over, and now you're just insulting us and strawmanning us. What the fuck?
See, what clearly happened is, up until one point, we destroyed him, and he was starting to accept that okay, this is some logical shit, and we have we have come to this debate without knowing our depth. Right then, he was like, you guys are completely logical. This is a completely logical framework, but I just wouldn't. And then, like he thought more about it, and he the more he thought, he got more uncomfortable about the idea. And then towards the end he's like, you guys are so emotional. Dude, you just fucking called us logical like 10 minutes ago. You said you are the one who's emotional. What the fuck? Yeah, he conceded the debate like half an hour ago, and he was like, later, you guys don't have any arguments. I don't have any animal crushing porn. What the fuck, dude?
Brilliant.
You don't have to actually watch animal crushing porn to support it. You can just stand by and let it happen. You can stand by and not fight for the only solution for those animals. That is letting it happen. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
it's like as long as I'm not, directly insulting you and swearing at you, and I'm somewhat polite, then I can say child rape is okay. That's his
that will not be tolerated in our channel.
Yeah, you can't politely say child rape is okay and expect us to respect your opinion. It's not going to happen. Remember that.
Okay. So do we take some questions, or do we end the thing? Oh, sure. There are a lot of questions, I guess.
There's quite a few comments. Are there any serious questions? I'm not sure that there are, but we can have a very quick look. Steve, I'm an extinctionist, but I failed in maths. Am I a moron? Yes.
Yeah. So the thing is, you are not an extinctionist because I don't know you. You literally do zero activism for the sufferers. So
exactly.
you are not just a moron. You are an unethical person who is actually equal to direct rapist himself.
Yeah, because again, it's no better to be an onlooker, a silent onlooker, than the rapists themselves. Because what's the difference? There is no difference to the victim. And that's the only metric that matters, the suffering. So to say, oh, it's better because I'm not doing it myself, it's better for your ego. It's not better for the victim. It makes no difference. It's literally just disgusting. So
let's just put up a positive comment for once. Thank you guys for fighting for the right thing.
Well, we don't get many of those.
So if you know it is the right thing, you should also join the fight. Just because you posted a positive comment doesn't mean that my reply is going to be positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he sent me a message, I think. Let's have a look. This message is hidden because it may contain offensive content. Okay, let's see what he says. I have to literally confirm that like my mental health is okay if I want to view this message. Okay, it's actually a nice message. Thanks for having me. Hopefully you can get some traction out of a rage quit. Your co-host is truly insufferable. Good. He should be insufferable to the oppressors. What else do you want?
What is the point of making white supremacists feel nice? What the fuck?
It was a great exchange of ideas nonetheless, and I do wish you well. So, he was more honest than most people. We have to give him some credit, but we can't really give him any substantial or important credit because he's not helping the victims. He's just as bad as the rapists.
I don't know why he says the word insufferable, because the whole point of fucking activism is to make oppressors feel uncomfortable. and he was one. He literally said at the end he doesn't care. I don't just care. Like he just even lifted his hands. I don't care. Right.
Yeah, yeah. He was like, you know what? Not my problem, guys. So I don't give a
Yeah.
shit. He literally said that. And yeah, you know, all of these pro-lifers, when you push them, they all say the exact same thing. They all, like, literally all of them. You're too mean. You're too nasty. You're never gonna
Hmm.
not gonna catch any flies with this. And it's literally, it's pro-life advice, right? But it's not even good advice. It's literally designed to harm the movement. They're saying, be quiet, don't speak out for the victims, whisper for the victims. Whisper, please stop suffering, please end suffering. That's what they want. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, they want to be like you're a nice person, and if you want to keep to your pro-life ideologies, that continuing rape is okay. We'll just be nice about it, right? So we are just looking to convert you. So is there any chance you will join our movement? Please join. I am begging you. Like what the fuck? This is what they expect. Bootlick, bootlick, bootlick. I won't do that. Right. Yeah, there is a moron who is expecting bootlicking on the comments right now. I wanted to start activism, but you guys make me not do anything. Oh my god! Like, what do we have to do for Sandy to do activism? Just tell us, right? We'll do anything. Should I stand nude on the street? Should I, like stand upside down and post a picture on Proextinction? What the fuck, dude? If you want to do activism, you do activism. Nobody can stop you from making, doing activism.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we've literally, had to kick certain people out of the movement, and
Yeah, because
some
I
of them
called you a
still do
moron, you got butt hurt and you won't do activism. Because Steve called me a moron, children deserve to get raped. What the fuck? You're just a fucking troll, and I already know this, but I just had to make a point.
Yep, just another excuse to ignore the victims.
Hmm.
Okay, I think that's
Wow,
enough.
wow, wow, wow. Wait a second, wait a second. Let's finish this off. Silence does not necessarily mean lack of empathy. It usually means fear of powerlessness. Acknowledge this.
Fair.
So you are admitting that, like, what the fuck are you saying? Because Steve and James are like all powerful beings. James is the Prime Minister of UK, and I am the next dictator of India. So we are like very powerful people, right? What the fuck, dude? We have the same level of power as you do, right? On society, on everything. We are just more empathetic. Yes, like empathetic people will not be silent. We are more empathetic. We want to, like, we feel a more sense of a moral obligation. So we choose to help sufferers. We don't sit like you in the home and like say like, oh my god, we are so powerless. We just change shit, right? We make the this debate is proof, right? We make pro-lifers uncomfortable. We make people face the uncomfortable truth. Tomorrow a pro-lifer might just fucking kill me. I am powerless, but like today I do activism and that matters. That is getting us one step closer towards extinction, right? Yesterday it would have been easy to kill me, right? Today I'm not so powerless as yesterday. Today I have James, you have to kill him too. Right? I have a whole bunch of people doing street activism, right? I have like we now have like people on the streets doing extinctionist activism, right? So powerlessness is just something like you're just feeling like using this as an excuse to not help the victims, to be lazy, right? So we don't do that. There is a difference. You and me are different. I'm a more moral person than you. You are answering a realist question with an idealist answer. Thanks for trying to. Idealist answer. What the fuck? I am as powerless as you is an idealist answer. Is the most realist fucking answer ever. You are on YouTube commenting literally on like uselessly commenting that extinction is impossible on our videos, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
that
your
is more useful. So you are powerful enough to stop extinctionism. No, you aren't. Right. So if you are like powerless at one thing, that is stopping the extinctionism movement. You are like literally doing nothing. You are not going to stop our morale. You are not going to stop our ethics, our empathy, anything. So you are the one who is literally wasting time right now. Okay. I think this this killing Dylan is just a troll, so we'll just avoid him. Like one or two of his comments were worthy of reply, so I just replied. Cool, we'll end the live. So the thing is, join our Discord. Comment for the Discord link. We can always send you the Discord link. Join the activism, and you can message us on Instagram page also if you want to join the activism. Don't be like this Dylan guy. He's a fucking unethical moron. He's no different from a rapist. He's allowing suffering to happen. Don't take him as a role model. Take James as a role model. Right. So join activism. Ask for links in YouTube comments and Instagram. If you want to debate us, you can still DM us on Instagram. You can still comment on YouTube that you want to debate, and we will arrange a debate for you. Cool, James. You want to say anything?
Allahu Akbar.
Jesus is my Lord and Savior.
Preach it, brother. Preach it.
Okay.